Well, we're back again. Hey, Bayek, here we go again. Right.
Yeah.
What have we got this week, Matthew?
Back for another episode. It's our normal gig today, the news review. So obviously we'll start with our top headlines of the week if you've seen the show before. So Mick, would you like to give me one of your news headlines of the week?
As I've said, I always look for something a bit bizarre. This week we have found out that there are more man-eating crocodiles on the planet than there ever has been before, apparently.
Okay. Right. Is there any specific region or reason?
Well, what happened was that obviously in the 50s and 60s they used to hunt crocodiles.
Okay.
And pretty much, I'm on about Australia mainly with the hunting bit, but worldwide they were hunting crocodiles, and in some places they nearly went extinct. However, after a very successful leaving them alone time, we'll call it, their numbers now have gone up to what they were before. And of course, when they're going up, they're getting bigger. So, and, you know, they're taking anything. So I think it's something like £1.5 million worth of cattle just in Australia gets taken by
some of
crocs.
these movies we see of big giant crocodiles attacking, that's going to become more realistic, is it?
Pretty much, yes.
Ah.
And in the Nile, there's over 300. I'm saying 300, and that's very conservative. Over 300 fatal attacks every year.
Interesting.
So, and then you've got all the other crocs all around the world as well.
So the moral of the story: if you go along the Nile, get a boat that can survive the bite. Is that?
The moral of the story is don't go on a river with crocodiles in.
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. Well, my number one is the Kenyans who are helping the world to cheat, and this is basically people who are attending university getting degrees or all these. Actually, they're paying for people to do their assignments, and actually, it's mainly Kenyans, believe it or not, because they're English speaking, and it's actually a full-time industry over there at the minute. So if you want an essay doing, for example, you can contact one of these companies. On the company, it will look actually like it's some professor who's writing it. In reality, it's not. It's actually a big industry in Kenya, believe it or not.
I actually have seen a documentary about that many years ago.
Yeah, it's big business.
But then that's quite frightening because you could have a doctor operating on you. It's not a doctor.
Yeah. Well, they've had this for a while though, where you not to the extent of just one-off assignments, but people buying degrees. It's common for a long time. This.
The only degree I've got is what happens when I'm cooking something. 180.
So So what would you need a Kenyan to help you with, Mick?
I don't know. So, getting things off shelves.
Well,
the Maasai warriors are Kenyan, so they're really tall. So they could take things off the shelf for me.
Yeah.
So
that's apparently happening a lot.
It was the Kenyan going back in history. I think it was the Mau Mau Rebellion was Kenya. So
interesting. What's your number two?
Number two for me, moving on, is English waters. Now, the sea around the United Kingdom is a very nice place, except for being overfished. However, there is good news. The bluefin tuna is now at a stage where you wouldn't think tuna was around this country, to be quite honest. And we're talking the North Sea here as well, which is cold. So we're actually talking about the bluefin tuna are coming back in good numbers and can be refished again. So that's a good news because it means that pollution is down.
I half expected a Brexit sort of.
I know what you were thinking about.
Rant going on then, and it went a different way. On that note, we'll keep it positive. We'll move on then. But I'm about to bring the tone down because you mentioned it last week, Big Ben, and you mentioned it, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Right. So Big Ben, the costs have been revealed so far. It was an estimated £39 million it was going to cost for the renovation. However, it's now exceeded £80 million to renovate Big Ben.
Wow.
When people are struggling in this country. And on top of that, Boris Johnson not long ago had wasn't it a boat built so he could look all big and mighty on the boat as well. And it was a political boat on top of that.
Well, nice for you, isn't it? You know, I mean, this, I can tell you, I mean, not being too negative, but I mean, he's gone, oh, we'll give you 1.2%. What is it on VAT? However,
National
on
insurance.
However, that is not true. It's actually 10%. That's actually what it means.
This is a party.
In our language.
If you remember, this is a party that promises the lowest tax. The party of no tax.
Bring beer down. Bring beer down. That's how we'll get rat face.
Anyway, that's a different rant. No, what's your number 3, Mick? So my number 2 is Big Ben. What's your third?
Right, my third thing is a problem and a solution. This is me personally. All this week, I've been having someone called Alan and Dave from Delhi ringing me, trying to either tell me something's wrong with my computer, or they're trying to sell me something.
So this time not a Nigerian prince wanting your bank details.
No, not Nigerians. This time it's Indians.
He wants
India
to
this time.
basically send millions of pounds to your bank, not him this
No,
time.
these ones want money from my bank. So this is quite interesting, and I've come up with a solution.
Okay.
So they're on about that a massive amount of money is actually being sent over to India through these scams. So the idea is either twofold. One, the first one we can try is keep talking to them. They have to pay for that phone call. Just keep talking to them forever and ever. Eventually they'll run out of money, and just don't give them any details. Second of all, we cut the electric phone wire to India. You're not going to like that, but it'll give me a good night's sleep.
Yeah, you get a lot of these, don't you?
Yeah.
I did have a missed call the other day.
Once you get over 50, they just hound you.
Well, I had a missed call the other day and on my phone, and when I looked at the number, and I googled the number as you do, because it was no 161 number, which is Manchester. So I googled it, and it was Manchester Civil Court. I was like, what? So I rang it back, said I've had a missed call, and they said, what department do you want? And I was, well, I don't know. You rang me. And they were like, we can assure you we've not rang you off this number. However, there's a scam going on.
Actually, what they do is, I saw how they do this. They get the phone numbers and went of certain places, and what to make revenue, believe it or not. They rent those numbers out in their lull periods. And then that's where the scam come in. They rent those during the quiet periods.
Is it not risky, though, if you're a scammer going after Manchester Civil Court's number?
It is a little bit dodgy.
Yeah, so you're inviting trouble to your door.
You might be in for it. But I've seen on YouTube as well where police officers have been rang, and they're actually threatening to arrest them.
Right, yeah.
So I've had that when they've threatened to arrest me. I says, okay, send somebody round. I'll get them a cup of tea.
Yeah, they do try everything. They're a bit desperate, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. So it's not good. It's not good for the country, because that country's getting known for scams.
Well, before Mick cuts all electricity off in India,
let's move on.
I'll go to mine.
Just the telephones. Just the
telephones. Right, okay. So it made me laugh, this one. On Thursday,
it's normally miserable.
I got to work, and it took me a little bit longer, and then I was on my break, probably about 10:30, and I saw pop up on a banner that the M25, which is, the M25, London, and really, really busy, in rush hour was closed in both directions, so they could escort a cow off the motorway. And apparently it was for an hour and a half, and it took 10 police officers to escort a cow off the motorway. Now, some of those details might be slightly wrong, because I have seen different from site to site. But 10 police officers, we've not even got 10 police officers in our borough, let alone to go and get a cow off the motorway.
I'm not going to be crude, but there obviously people are going to say mention animals and everything like that, but on this one, but you're telling me it took 10 officers?
Yeah, probably not even mentioning the traffic officers.
Regardless of all the traffic stood on causing chaos, to move one cow.
Yeah. But you've got to ignore that, guys. That was dad joke. So on that one, but you've also got the traffic officers. It doesn't mention that, so I bet they were all there too. But yeah, 10 police officers. I'm sure there's a joke.
Did they shout at each other?
Well,
just possibly, in case they heard each other wrong.
Oh, he's at it again.
Oh, right. The other one.
Well, your challenge is, if you can come up with a headline for that one, because I'm sure there's a joke there 10 police
I just
officers
gave
moving a
two-
cow.
yeah.
Ignore his jokes. If you can come up with one better, please comment below. And while we're at it, we'd love you to subscribe as well, because we're putting videos out 3 last week, so hopefully 3 this week as well.
Yeah. Keep plugging away. We're not. Everyone's going about this subscribing. They go different ways. We'll be quite blunt. We need subscriptions.
We do need it.
Give us some subscriptions.
Anyway, we're moving on.
Right, carry on.
It's me, is it?
Yeah, you.
This week's sports review, 30-second sports review. I am going to do it slightly different, really, because there's only 2 real things worth talking about. One is Cristiano Ronaldo yesterday returned for Manchester United, scored 2. The only other one happened last night, and I'm glad I actually tuned in. I actually tuned in to watch the tennis last night because Emma Raducanu, 18-year-old Brit, won.
In New York?
She won, the US Open.
Wow.
And when we dig in a little bit deeper, and I would like to take a little bit more time than 30 seconds this week, she was a qualifier, and she's been in the tournament for 3 weeks, 10 matches, which is the longest of any, that it's never happened before. And she's actually gone through, she's the only qualifier to do that, and she's not actually dropped a set. She's not lost a set all the way through, and she's come through, been there the longest, probably gone, her body's probably aching like mad, obviously the money helps, but she's a qualifier. But if you think about it, she only debuted at Wimbledon a couple of months ago. She was ranked 366 in the world then, and she got through to the last 16. But if we go back 4 months, she was doing her exams.
Okay.
So
good on you, girl.
But fantastic. She's broke all records.
Nice to know. A really good story.
There's one thing just before I do go on that. In Wimbledon, she did go out in the last 16, and she had to retire for medical reasons because her stomach, there must have been all sorts going on. But people like Piers Morgan got on and called her gutless and said one of the things, she couldn't handle the pressure. Now, last night, she won in the US Open in pressure. Now, he came out and was one of the first to congratulate her, which is good, but that's not far enough. He needs to come out now and apologise, because people like, you got old men putting young people down, and that's a typical example. Do you not agree? On that note, she deserves, take your hat off, 18-year-old, that's fantastic.
No, stop. You can't say old men.
It wasn't just him, though.
You're just...
This is what happened. When she went out of Wimbledon, you should have seen social media.
I know it's a saying that's been carried on from generation to generation.
It was old men.
In my day,
it was.
We'd get up and stick a plaster on and off we go. But that's sort of like a thing that's been traditionally passed along. But that's negative. That's just been negative. It's nothing to do with age. It's just been negative. So, and remember, those people, they have to, that's how they earn their money, to be negative, to get sensation.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
but I think they should be the first to come out and...
I think congratulations. If you do really well at something, you should be congratulated. Except for bank robbers. That's a different story.
But ultimately, like, then it was an 18-year-old at Wimbledon. She got to the last 16 as a qualifier. Yeah. She wasn't even ranked. So that's a good... She did really well.
That's what I said.
And then,
good on you, girl. Good on you.
What, to have people jumping on her when she's actually exceeded expectations. And then now, I mean, he's got to eat humble pie for me, because can she handle the pressure?
Quite a few people have to eat humble pie, but that's how they make their money.
Anyway, we'll move that on. Your weather review, please, Mick.
Right, the weather. Well, what a change from last week, wasn't it, really? It was beautiful last week. The weather, again, it's been humid, so humid at night.
And in the day, I've got to admit,
it's just terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for people with underlying health conditions, I mean, I am one of them. So, you know, as those who don't know, you know, I'm actually diabetic and I've had a heart attack. So all sorts of weird things gone off with me. But it's been absolutely terrible because you get so tired with it all the time. So you just one way or the other. A nice bit of breeze would be quite handy. That's been very nice. But there is a rumour that we might be in for some nice sunshine, a late summer, end of this week. So a couple of days,
that'd be nice.
Freshness. If
I can put in a request, I'll go for next weekend. Is that all right?
Next weekend,
just,
right?
Because I'm working, that's all. Yeah. So I'll send my request up for later on.
So that's
good.
It looks like we're going to have a nice couple of days coming in a couple of days' time.
Yeah.
Up till then, it's still going to be a bit humid.
And if the weather's rubbish, do we have your film review for the week? Or film recommendation, sorry, not review.
Right. Now, my film recommendation this week is actually a revamp of an old film that's been done a couple of times now. and it's actually June.
I've heard.
June. It's based on a novel. It's very good. It's actually got Jason Momoa in it. So from Aquaman.
Yeah, he's big at the minute.
Yeah, he's very big, and there's a lot of big stars going into this one. I'm not sure if it's out or just about ready to go out. I've seen the clips and everything. Looks really good. Now, I'm a big Dune fan. I like Dune, and I have got copies of the previous films. The original, that was some years ago. Fantastic. And I didn't think you'd probably be able to beat that one. But this one may give it a good run. Then they brought out Children of Dune, which wasn't very good, to be quite honest. It just
heard
didn't
the
have
name,
that.
but it's not ringing a bell with me.
I love the film. It's a really good film about giant slugs that go under the earth and everything like that.
Okay.
I reckon. Yeah, it's very good.
Well,
it's a novel. So
I've got 3 that are coming out at the end of the week.
Okay.
One I really don't fancy, which is Prisoners of the Ghostland with Nicolas Cage. It doesn't really appeal to me.
Not exactly startling, is it?
No, the other one, Gunpowder Milkshake, which is apparently an assassin movie, so might be okay. Well, one that I actually kind of like the sound of is La Cha Cha, which has Reese Ifans in, and they're actually trying to spread his dad's ashes during lockdown, and they travel around campsites in Wales trying to get to where they're going, and it's supposed to be a comedy. And
I've not met them.
It's supposed to be quite uplifting, but I like Reese Ifans. I think he's great. It's always good in films, good value for money. But it's supposed to be a comedy and uplifting, and I think we need a bit of that at the minute. So I think that would be my recommendation. To be quite
honest, we do need a good bit of uplifting good news because he's not good at the moment.
I think overall though in the film industry at the minute, obviously you got your Marvel and DCs, and they're successful. Outside of that, it's kind of same, and comedies.
Absolutely,
it's either slapstick comedy or romantic, and I like something that's not. It's a comedy, and they're being brave and trying something.
The old saying was with the movie industry that it was a 7-year cycle. So you go medieval for 7 years, then you go comedy, then you go romance, and then sci-fi, and it would go around in a big circle every 7 years. So I don't know where we are on the circle at the moment.
I do like the fact they've tried it, and good on them.
So
that would be that. So are we on to the grumble of the week then?
Yeah, we're on to a grumble of the week. And it's your turn this week. Yeah,
well, I will keep it quick because I think I can, and I'm going to actually commit one of the deadly sins that we talked about. It's actually, to be fair, I'll keep it brief, but it's politics.
Oh, God.
No, but I will keep it brief because I don't know if you heard about this, but Gavin Williamson mixing up Marcus Rashford, who's a footballer, with Mario Toje, who's a rugby player. He mixed them up having met Mario Toje. He then called him Marcus Rashford, and Marcus Rashford, who's led a lot for children's poverty in the area that he's working with. I know, you think you wouldn't get that mixed up. However, to cut it straight, the Tories are doing such an appalling job of everything at the minute, messing everything up, and they're still the most popular party. How? So my grumble is, how? Who's going to challenge them? The other parties need to get their act together, and something needs to happen. Because yes, I am anti-Tory, but nobody can say they're doing a good job. However, if we had a national election tomorrow, they'd still win. And that, how, is basically my grumble. How is that possible?
Right, well, to be quite honest, as the ages ago, I must admit that politicians nowadays, there's one or two, don't get me wrong, there's one or two in it that are in it to be politicians and to look after the people. But there's too many of them in there backhanding each other. It's corrupt. It's worse than Mos Eisley on Star Wars. Honestly, it's terrible. They're all backhanding each other. And remember one thing, you're there to actually represent us. You don't represent us, then there will be a day of reckoning. You're only there by the powers of the people. And this is a democratic society.
Well,
and I've noticed they've had a go at the ex-military. They've had a go at everybody who would normally say, "Don't please do that." They've either used the
if I can sum things up, there's a few things obviously happened recently.
Stop. There's no saying, "Don't poke a bear," because a bear will bite you.
Well, I'm glad you said that because while we're on terms of poking, we mentioned Matt Hancock the other week with his with his lady on the side.
Yeah.
But it's actually come out that she was given. It was known that Matt Hancock was having an affair with her, And she was then taken on the payroll so it could continue. Who paid for that? You. On that note, see you on the next one.
Can I have a secretary?
Bye.